All right, Craig, do we have time to talk about Opie and Rogan?
Sure do.
Will you allow it?
We'll allow
I'll
it.
try and make it snappy.
This was a tough watch.
Yeah, so this was we had a comment a couple weeks ago when we talked about I said, and I've said this a few times, I've said that Opie was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and people say, no, you're lying.
Right.
Which is an interesting response to get over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people say I'm wrong or I'm lying. And I'm like, no, I swear it happened. So I'm the only one that saw it, apparently.
You turn into Bobo. You're lying.
I'm not lying. But someone left a comment and said, hey, Mike, since no one seems to believe this exists, why don't you do a quick review of it? And I said, you know what? On a vacation week like this, that's the perfect idea. And then Craig said, yeah, we don't have time for it. So I'll try and make it quick. But Opie was, in fact, on the Joe Rogan Experience. It's episode 313. It's from January of 2013. So, we've passed 11 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like right as, like, the Joe Rogan Experience at that time was a popular podcast. Yep. But that didn't mean anything, Right. Like, this is at a time when, like, him and Marin and Corolla, like, they were the biggest, and Bill Burr, they were the biggest in podcasting, but, like, a few, like, maybe 20,000 people were listening to them at the time. 50 maybe at most. It wasn't a ton of people.
No one really knew what it was.
Would you say that's fair? Now that I throw the numbers out, it feels low. But.
At the time of Opie, maybe there was more.
100,000?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
because they're still in that first studio where, like, he was saying he would just kind of do it for fun.
Yeah, they're live on Ustream at this time.
Right.
And Brian Redband is still there.
And by the way, them being live is important.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes, it is. By the way, Ty Rivera said this in his video about Kill Tony, and this was actually a good point. Brian Redband started these shows.
Mm-hmm.
Ari Shaffir's Skeptic Tank, Your Mom's House, Kill Tony, and the Joe Rogan Experience.
Pretty good roster.
That's a wild resume. And he's just made a fool of, like, he's laughed at in the industry for some reason.
Does he have the money?
Redband?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like, was he able to make money off of this at all?
I'm sure he does well with, like, Kill Tony now.
Yeah, because, like,
I don't know. Ty Rivera was claiming he's not allowed to work the mothership.
Redband?
Yeah, that's what he said.
He's legit in there every week,
but not doing stand-up.
Oh,
that's what Ty Rivera claimed. I don't know if it's true or not. Anyways, we're getting off track. Opie was on Rogan 11 years ago. Let's get a little taste. It opens like, this is what was interesting about the podcast is I remember the hour and 13 mark is where I realized they had filtered through the old Opie and Anthony days, meeting Joe Rogan, UFC, ghosts, Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, aliens, and space.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah, so they Opie fired off all those bullets in the first hour.
Yeah,
and they had to sludge through the next two.
Oh God, it's uncomfortable.
It's there's just not a lot to talk to Opie about, but I have a few clips that outline that, I guess.
Sorry, the king of Twitter.
This is a thing that Opie would say to people. Like, when Twitter started, I remember he would say this to a lot of guests. You're the king of Twitter, man. And it's because Opie doesn't know anything about anyone.
Right.
So he's like, oh, you've tweeted before. Now, Rogan's Twitter has always been kind of what it is today, where he'll just tweet out, hey, here's a link I got on testosterone or fucking space or something.
I think he used to be a little more active than he is now.
I'm sure it was more frequent, but it was the same type of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So this is Opie trying to relate to Rogan.
And I do have to say this, you're the king of Twitter.
The king of Twitter?
You are the king of Twitter. And it has to be said. the links you tweet are just amazing.
Oh, well, get them to me, you know.
Yeah, but you're searching that out.
Yeah. Well, maybe some of it is things I retweet. Some of it is things that
I understand. I mean,
whatever I could find.
But you're filtering it from, you know, you're filtering the shit you're finding and then sending it out to your people.
Well, there's never been a time where you get so much weird shit thrown at you all day, and you.
Rogan's like trying to make something out. He's like, I'm the king of Twitter. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, which is insane.
he's perplexed by it, and it's because Opie is so vapid. He knows nothing about anyone, so he sees like, oh, Rogan is on Twitter. I'm gonna call him the king of Twitter, and it's gonna be the greatest compliment anyone's ever heard. And Rogan's like, oh, well, I mean, I just post links, and Opie's like, yeah, but you filter them through that brain of yours. And Rogan's like, okay.
Now, what this podcast reminds me of is the title of this next clip, and that's death.
Is that right?
Yes.
Talking about that, it was really weird to be like a 7 or 8-year-old, whatever it was, when I really started.
Probably about 8.
Yeah.
Hold on, I love that. But this is something I've heard Opie espouse through the years. Like, he has told this story on multiple podcasts over and over again. And it's just not believable, and he finds it interesting. But by the way, you heard right there. Rogan goes, I can't remember what age I was, 7 or 8. And Opie goes, probably 8. Okay, then 8. I'm sorry.
You must know, you were there.
Yeah.
Talking about that, it was really weird to be like a 7 or 8-year-old, whatever it was, when I really started.
Probably about 8.
Yeah.
I think it happens around 8 for everyone, because that's about the time you realize.
Definitely not 7, though. No way is it 7.
It would never, on any circumstance, be 7.
No, it's always, for every kid, it's 8. For no kid is it 7.
And if it's 9, dude, you're gonna get made fun of in school.
Just an asshole to talk to.
I think it happens around 8 for everyone, because that's about the time you realize you're going to die. Is that the worst day of your life ever?
It's a scary day.
I remember I learned at 8 that you were going to die, and my parents were taking off to go to the movies. I just wanted to suckle on my mom's tit. I was so fucking scared.
8?
He's 8, and he's like, I need to suck mom's tit.
Yeah, but also, he's keep playing. Is there more?
Yeah.
And my parents were taking off to go to the movies. I just wanted to suckle on my mom's tit. I was so fucking scared. And to them, it was just a night out. To me, it was like a life changer. I'm like, wait a minute, this fucking thing ends someday?
To them, what was a night out?
It was just a night out. The day that
Opie's by Opie's scenario, like nothing happened. He's just saying that he was like, wait, do you die one day? And Opie's parents were like, yep. We're heading to the movies.
But wait, I have so many questions.
Goodbye, 8-year-old. We're leaving you alone. Like, it's, again, a thing, like, Opie doesn't, there's no substance to Opie, so there's no actual story there.
Yeah.
It's just something he's created in his mind where he's like, when I was 8 years old, I realized you died, and my parents left me alone. So, well, how did you realize you died? That might be interesting. But Opie's never like examined himself in any way, you know?
Of course not. But next we have the first of many, and this is a pee break.
It's crazy. This is like an hour in.
Yep.
Maybe less.
Yep. And this is so uncomfortable.
Yeah. So this is honestly, if it wasn't for this clip, like the episode was whatever. It's like I've heard Rogan episodes that I'm just as disinterested in as this.
Mm-hmm.
So if it wasn't for these type of clips, we probably wouldn't be playing this. But this is so telling as to who Opie is. It was back then and is to this day. Like, this is kind of embarrassing that this is his mindset when he leaves the room.
It's just the way I say it. So
no, I know.
Can I take a fucking leak?
Yeah, go take a leak. Go through that door and take.
What happens if I take a leak? You
Nothing.
guys
You come on right back. We'll keep talking. This is casual as fuck, man. It's the internet. You're looking at the CEOs of the company right here.
You just never take a break?
We do whatever we want.
So if I
don't need to take a break.
If I leave, will you be talking about me?
No, unless you want me to.
Hell fucking no.
Whatever you want, man.
Wants to be talked about when they're not in the room.
Are you checking your Twitter like a little girl? What are you doing here, man?
Yeah, I was just checking it out. Why not? Get a couple plugs in. That would help. Fuck. Get a few follows for Christ's sake.
Follow Opie Radio. OPIE
Nice.
Radio. Go through that door and take a right. We'll be right here.
There's a lot there. First of all, Opie's saying like, "You guys gonna talk about me when I leave the room?" Maybe this is not long after the little cunt won't even look at me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where he's like, "Oh, is Red Band texting Joe right now?"
Something about yogurt.
So, but for his instinct to be like, "Are you guys gonna talk about me when I leave?" It's like, first of all, Opie, the show's being broadcast.
Right.
You'll find out if they do. But then, like, he's looking at his Twitter and then guilts Joe. He's like, I could get a little plug-in, like, jeez. When it's like, how many times did Opie do that to people? Is like, just be completely rude to them and not plug their shit until the very end, whatever. Like, for him to guilt Joe and to give him a plug is so embarrassing for someone that claims he's like one of the most successful guys ever in radio.
He is.
But I'm saying to hold yourself in that regard and then bitch that Joe Rogan on what at the time is a small show in theory compared to now anyways, you know, but Opie needed like if he got 8 more Twitter followers, that was like a big day for him.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just can't imagine being that giant of a cunt, especially to a quote friend.
You guys going to talk about me?
Are you going to talk about me? Why don't you listen?
That's someone I would never hang out with again. Like if they were like, "Hey, I'm going to take a leak. Are you guys going to talk about me while I'm in the bathroom?" I'd be like, "Yes." Definitely now. Yeah.
Yes, every single time.
And then like Rogan goes, "Unless you want me to talk about you, I guess."
I wasn't gonna, but I'm probably gonna now. What the fuck is this?
And keep in mind him calling Opie a little girl for looking at his Twitter.
Yeah.
Because that comes up again as well.
Sure does. But this is a new environment.
Yeah, so this is like Opie's been his lack of confidence shines through. Like he will talk about how great a broadcaster he is and how successful he is and everything, but his lack of confidence really shines through in moments like this.
A lot of people with fertilizer.
Right.
If somebody wants to kill you, they
gonna
can
do it.
kill you.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
This is such a weird, chill environment.
Is it?
Yeah, man. This
Like
is how we
I'm
do it.
so
So out of my element.
No, you're not. You
But
fit
it's
right
kind-
in. What are
No,
you talking
but it's
about?
cool though.
But
I'm
how
trying
are
to-
you out of your element?
I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone these days.
Are
I
you
just do
really?
different things. Yeah, because like the type of radio show I do, I can almost do it in my sleep now.
Right.
Oh, yeah. It's so comes so easy to me.
The beginning when he's just like, "This is new, it's chill, man." Yeah, man.
I can do it standing on my head because I'm with 2 geniuses.
The thing I don't understand about this whole segment is like, it's basically the same thing.
Yes, literally Rogan says, "We stole from you," essentially.
Right.
I'm doing this because you did it, and I wanted to do it also.
So I went the same route.
Yeah, and Opie's like, "Oh man, you guys talk about weed. I'm out of my element, man." It's very weird. But yes, Opie, like I could also do this show standing in my head if I had Anthony Cumia and Jim Norton here with me. Yes,
That's
it'd be very easy for me to do nothing. I could take a nap, much like you did. I could play Candy Crush.
But I went back. I just wanted everyone to hear him go, "Yeah, man," to try to sound like he's chill.
Yeah.
This is such a weird, chill environment.
Is it?
Yeah, man. This is how we do it. So out of my
Yeah, brother.
Yeah, man.
Let's do a couple bong rips.
Yeah, man.
element.
No, you're not.
That's where remember when they would make fun of the old WAF tapes and make fun of the way Opie talked?
Yeah.
With man, like all
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
Opie never evolved out of that. It's just like Rich Voss and Bob Kelly started calling him gay. So he couldn't do it anymore, you know? Like that's who Opie is at his core, is a cheeseball pretending he's in Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
No, but it's cool though.
But how are you out of your element?
I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone these days.
Are
I
you
just do
really?
different things. Yeah, because like the type of radio show I do, I can almost do it in my sleep now.
Right. And you
So to
guys
step
always
into
have
this environment to me is really fucking strange. I'm just pointing out some shit.
Rogan's uncomfortable. He's like, okay. But what I probably undersold how many people were listening to Rogan at this point. Maybe it's way more than I said.
Mhm.
But the point I'm trying to impress upon you people is that like
It's a
the
fraction
time-
of what it is now.
it's a fraction of what it is now, and also at the time Opie was technically on a bigger show.
Yes.
You
Definitely.
know? So that's what I'm saying with like with Opie coming in here and being like trying to impress Rogan when Rogan is saying like, I stole your model. I completely credit you guys for inventing this, what I'm doing right now.
Right. This next part is where Opie shows up and seems to be, you know, right in mid-season form with this phone distraction.
Oh, good. Yeah, this is where the Opes are like, listen, the show's been over an hour now, so you're bound to get distracted.
I should have.
Yeah.
I know. No
Why
kidding.
don't you throw that fucking phone in the toilet? You should do that too. That fucking
happened?
Little bird that keeps going off every couple.
He has. I don't know if it comes across on the podcast. You hear that whistle, like the old tweet notification.
Yep.
Opie has his notifications on loud.
Is it to show how popular he is?
Well, here's what's really embarrassing. Listen to what the notification is. This is what Opie, who at the time had, I don't know, 150,000 Twitter followers.
That were real and active?
Sure. This is what a sad man Opie is. Listen to what his notification is.
I should have.
Yeah.
I know. No
Why
kidding.
don't you throw that fucking phone in the toilet? You should do that too. That fucking
happened?
Little bird that keeps going off every couple minutes.
You like the bird, right?
I like the bird. In a previous podcast, we talked
Is it
about
distracting?
Well, in a previous
little
podcast, we were talking about how every time I'm at a restaurant that goes off, people are like, "Did you just whistle at me?"
The whistle's a little weird. I got to be honest with you.
Ryan Redband has strep throat. That's why he sounds like that.
Yeah.
I've never heard strep do that to someone's voice.
What make it sound like?
Hey, ma'am. It doesn't sound like he has a sore throat. It sounds weird.
Yeah.
Guys, great interview with Rogan. Asked to try.
Oh, go back a little. I'm sorry. He cites who the notification is from.
You just whistle at me.
The whistle's a little weird. I got to be honest with you. Look, it's one of my guys. Great interview with Rogan. Asked to try his
Oh, I'm sorry. This is such a slap in the fucking face from Rogan to Opie.
He has his notifications on for every tweet he gets.
Yeah, and
He's like, "Hey Joe, look, I got a tweet."
Opie's about to bring up something that Rogan brings up to every guest and offers to them.
Okay.
You just whistle at me.
The whistle's a little weird. I got to be honest with you. Look, it's one of my guys. Great interview with Rogan. Asked to try his deprivation tank. Trippy.
Tripping.
I do want to try that. I want to float.
Is there a place in New York where you could do it?
I don't know.
My favorite thing is he's like, no.
Yeah, you should definitely go home and figure that out.
You'll find a place there. You don't need me.
You know what's really cool is the one on the other coast. Go find that one.
Fly 3,000 miles that way.
Joe's like, absolutely not.
This is Ray Liotta.
Okay, so this is a story I've heard Anthony tell before. I don't know if I ever heard Opie acknowledge it. Maybe I did at the time and just forgot about it. But this is a story, and it's interesting how Opie spins this into. Now, you Opie and Anthony listeners might remember very often Goodfellas would get quoted on the Opie and Anthony show. Very often by Anthony. Not quite as often, but I'd say in the same league would be quoted by Jim Norton. If Colin Quinn was on, perhaps, someone like that, Patrice. I don't remember Opie getting in on the fun there. I don't think of him as like a diehard Goodfellas fan. In fact, I don't think of him as really a fan of anything or having any pop culture like passions. But this is him talking about when they interviewed Ray Liotta.
TV,
Right.
No, that's out the window.
Yeah.
Now it's just about doing a job.
Yeah, I used to be nervous doing radio. I mean, but that left years ago. So the only person that's ever intimidated me was Ray Liotta.
Did he intimidate you?
I don't know what it was about him, but he came in recently, and I definitely did better. I just did better. He was one of these guys, man. I don't know what it is. I was fucking intimidated by him.
That's funny.
And then the first time he came in, where I was barely talking, and he finally looked at me and he goes, "Hey, is that guy sick?"
That sounded like him too.
Is that guy sick? I don't know what it was. It's like no one else does that to me but Ray Liotta. And then the fans knew. And then when he was coming back in, they were all talking about it, tweeting, and I did all right the second time, but
He's a bad motherfucker.
I will say it was weird, like listening as a fan. It was the only times Opie would get like that and not talk. It was when Ray Liotta or any other guest was in. It was very weird. It was kind of crazy how it was like Ray Liotta or someone who has acted in anything. It was weird. It's funny how Opie spins that though. Like it's like yeah, I'm such a Ray Liotta fan.
Yeah.
You're not.
You just didn't know him at all or what to ask him.
Yeah, it's like I mean, yeah, I don't know. They've had many more famous people than Ray Liotta on.
Next, he's a shock jock.
This is vintage Opster trying to get on the fun here.
Hang out. Let's do this.
Yeah, we had a good time.
And Ed Asner came on. I mean, he had no reason to be on our show, to be honest with you.
He's a great guy.
He was all right.
He's you and him, and you started fucking with him.
Well, this is where like Opie's sense of humor. He thinks like, oh, it's cool to just shit on everything, even if there's nothing like fueling it or backing it. He's like, fucking Ed Asner had no reason to be on our show, and Rogan's like, well, why wouldn't he? He's a good guy. Like, he was an interesting guest.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you have him on?
We got along.
That's the difference. Sorry, that's the difference between someone who's curious and someone who doesn't have a fucking thought in his head.
Right, exactly.
Is Rogan's like, why wouldn't you talk to him? And Opie's like, he had no business being on our show.
But I recently explained this somewhere that I do that shit just to get a
rise out of someone.
Out of you, not
Out of
him.
me?
I don't give a fuck about.
So you went after him to get a rise out of me.
Yeah, that's how fucked up that is.
That's not fucked up.
I did it.
Showmanship.
I did it to Superfly Jimmy Snuka the other day.
Oh, did you really?
Well, back in '83, a woman died that he was with, and it was very suspicious.
Oh, really?
Very suspicious. He says she fell on some rocks. They were driving to a wrestling match or something, and stopped at a rest area, and she was checking out a stream, and she fucking hit her head, and then by the time we got her to the hospital and stuff, she was dead. But some say,
yeah,
he might have had something to do with it.
Maybe he didn't though.
Okay, hold on. Twice he has, before we get to the punchline here, twice he has mentioned she is dead. And he's also mentioned that like there's kind of a conspiracy that Jimmy Snuka was involved in this.
Right.
So the woman is very clearly dead.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, well let's hear where Opie takes it. Opie the Edgelord takes this.
Yeah,
He might have had something to do with it.
Maybe he didn't though. Imagine if that was actually just his girlfriend and you're accusing him of killing her. And
well, we got a video.
Horrible, and
it's one of my latest videos on my YouTube channel, because what happened was we asked him the story, which
Right.
was pretty big, because I wasn't sure he was going to talk about it, and he told the whole fucking story. And just to get a rise out of everyone in the room, I go, well, what is she doing now? Knowing what the answer.
Because she was dead, get it? But Opie, you said she was dead already. The punchline doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
Because you established 3 times she was dead.
And it's pretty obvious that he did kill her.
It's also very funny. First of all, it's funny to hear Rogan Opie's like, isn't it great that I've got this conspiracy theory? And Joe's like, yeah, or maybe he didn't do it and he feels very bad about it and he lives with a lot of guilt.
I think it actually came out after this that he did do it.
Oh, that he did? Oh, interesting. So, hey, Opie's on the right side of history.
But it was everyone thought he did it. I forget what evidence came out, but he ended up getting blackballed from WWF and kicked out of.
Well, we're not here about that.
All right. I thought I'd share.
Save it for Rubbed Out.
I should.
Folks, go listen to Rubbed Out.
Yeah. New episode out.
But this is Chip Chipperson. This is the Chip that lives within Opie. Because Chip would go on the Joe Rogan Experience and go, fucking Joe, I had Superfly Jimmy Snuka on it. I was fucking laughing, roasting him, and everyone was laughing.
Yeah, she died, and I said, what's she doing now? Fucking home run, Chipperson.
Dig her up, cocksucker. But legitimately, this is the Chip that lives within Opie, where he's like, hey, Joe, you should have been there. I was so funny on the show last week. Well, how about just be funny now, and we wouldn't have to relive the Opie and Anthony show, you know?
Please make my sponsors happy and do something of note.
Bring up one topic we can riff on for a few minutes.
Next we got Death Squad.
Oh, this is a feather in Opie's cap. I never heard this story, but Red Band gives him actually. Red Band does not. Red Band kind of refutes the story. Rogan gives him massive kudos, though.
Yeah, and Opie responds exactly like you thought.
Sure.
Maybe this coming summer we'll do one or two.
You were the guy that you first came up with the name Death Squad. Do you understand that?
Really?
Yeah.
Our show or
no, the name Death Squad.
Yeah.
You came up with
me personally or our show?
You did. You did.
No, he called us that. He didn't make the name up, but he called us Death Squad.
Your voice is getting worse.
Yes.
And how about I get a little credit here? You always give me a little credit, man.
When I showed up,
Red Band Venmo me $500.
Venmo me. Venmo me, cocksucker.
Nate Fletcher, who's this big giant Ultimate Fighter dude,
Right.
and Eddie Bravo.
Sure.
And you go, here comes Joe Rogan with the Death Squad.
Okay, I do remember that.
And when you
No,
did,
you don't.
that literally became the nickname.
Absolutely not.
Oh, yes. No, now I remember it like it was yesterday because you said Eddie Bravo was there.
Get your checkbook.
Fighter dude,
Right.
and Eddie Bravo.
Sure.
And you go, here comes Joe Rogan with the Death Squad.
Okay, I do remember that.
And when you did that, that literally became the nickname we started
Nice.
using. So, like all the podcasts that are called the Death Squad,
Right.
that all came out of that one thing.
So
that
how
you
about,
said.
do I get a little taste?
What do you want? What do you want? A hug?
I got my taste.
Give you some
Want
free
some
alpha
strap?
brain?
I got my taste, by the way.
Like how he's
Yeah.
like,
Nice.
Rogan's like, fuck off.
Well, Opie, by the way, is holding up Sheba because he's 13. He's like, I got my taste, brother. A little taste of the ganj. Anyone jealous out there?
Yeah.
How about a little taste? Well, we could have just called it something else, Opie. That would have been fine.
Now, next here we have the second uncomfortable pee break boss.
Yeah, I don't know why he keeps getting up to piss. This is the second. This is less than 2 hours in, and he pisses for a second time.
Do you ever leak?
A leak in what?
I gotta take another leak.
Oh, yeah. Go take a leak, man. Go ahead. I can handle it. I have a fucking powerful bladder.
But you've been drinking coffee the whole fucking time.
Like I told you, I got a powerful bladder.
He wears
How much time do
Depends.
we have left on this program? We're good. It's like
I've never heard Rogan ask that before.
Ever. He actually, to be fair, he would say that more often in the old days.
In the early days, did they
Yeah.
have like a certain amount they could be on or something?
Well, he wasn't running his whole life like the way he is now, so he did
Yeah.
have things to do.
Okay.
Or
I don't remember him saying like, "Can we get the fuck out of here, Jamie?"
oftentimes back then too, he would record multiples. in a
Oh,
row.
okay, that's possible. Yeah, that makes sense.
He wears
how much time do
Depends.
we have left on this program? We're good. It's like not even
20
5
minutes.
o'clock.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
Damn.
We almost did 3 hours, already.
That's pretty good.
Crazy.
I think we did good then.
You want to wrap it up right now?
No, I don't care.
Let's take a leak and then come back. We'll talk about some other shit. Opie took notes. This is a fucking goddamn professional.
You want to wrap this up? Can we get out of here? Or do I have to come up with new topics for us to talk about?
Can we
Do I have
please?
to compliment you again for inventing this format?
And then he's like, I don't care, man.
Whatever, brother.
I don't need you.
All right, what else do we have?
Never. This is a weird one. Never forget.
Oh, so this is a lie, right?
It has to be.
If I remember right, Opie and Anthony on 9/11 were stuck on Long Island because they couldn't get into the city. They did an afternoon show at the time.
I thought they were broadcasting already when it happened.
No. They were 9/11. The attacks were at 8 in the morning.
No, I know that, but for some reason I
They were
thought,
on in the afternoons.
Man, I have to go back and listen. For some reason I thought
Well,
like
you can go back and listen, but I'm assuring you.
no, I believe you. I'm just saying I was always under the impression for
I
some
don't know if you
reason.
have to go back and listen. I'm telling you what happened.
Well, I want to go listen. Damn it!
I'm telling the guy what happened. I just have to go back and listen.
I need someone else.
If only there was a way we could know.
Yeah, this guy can't see. I'm gonna go listen.
Yeah, so I think this is a lie, but this is Opie recounting his 9/11 experience.
That's got to be crazy to live in a city and see something like that happen. Because all of us that experienced September 11th, we experienced it from the West Coast.
Right.
You know,
It was creepy. I'll never forget the smell
None of
of
us will.
plastic and death.
you could smell
Dramatic
death.
pause. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dramatic pause.
I stayed-
Joe paused because he's like, oh, he's lying.
He's lying.
He's he's a 9-year-old who's pretending he could. What are you, a superhero, Opie? Dog boy. He can smell death.
I'll never forget the smell of plastic and death.
You could smell
dramatic
death.
Pause. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I wasn't living in the city at the time, but I stayed for, a few days so we could broadcast because they shut down the whole fucking city. And in Midtown, you smelled burning plastic and you smelled death. There was no doubt in your fucking mind.
Wow, is that death?
People.
You know what that smells like? Death.
Yeah, which is so much different than how New York smells regularly. It
The
comes
way
with the
he-
stench of piss.
The way he says it too is so weird. He's like, plastic and death.
Death. And he goes, pause for dramatic effect. As if
Wasn't even-
the room has just been floored.
But it wasn't even that. He was just like, death. I think that's right here on.
And death.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah. I'm pretty trippy, right, guys?
Guys, do I have something interesting or what?
Hey, you know how you guys are all high? This must be crazy for you.
You know what's better than this? My radio show.
The whole fucking city. And in Midtown, you smelled burning plastic and you smelled death. There was no doubt in your fucking mind that was dead people. Wow. All the way in Midtown. I don't know how many miles officially that is from Ground Zero, but it's quite a hike. And I also remember that some people were just going about their day like nothing was different. I remember
Yeah, everyone remembers that, right? Now, I was in Massachusetts and we didn't go about our day like nothing was different.
No, like the next couple weeks were weird.
I'm sure in Midtown Manhattan, everyone was like, boy, I can't catch a cab today. What the heck is going on?
There's people in the streets shoveling up body parts. And he's like, yep, back to normal.
Oh, excuse me, sir. They step over a body.
Yeah.
I remember looking at these two women. They were going to happy hour, and they were just talking about their dumb office.
Everything was closed.
I'm sitting there thinking to myself,
No, they were going to happy hour, dude.
He's just lying, right?
Yeah, I think so.
He's just blatantly lying.
I believe so.
This is worse than Steve Renazizi.
Has to be.
I mean, not even close.
holy fuck, do you understand just what happened to the city 24 hours ago?
Oh, God.
I never forgot that.
Yeah, that's weird how people can do that. It's
Well, it's weird how people could do that, but they didn't, Joe. Don't worry.
Lie about it.
Yeah, what the man in front of you is doing is much weirder, but yeah. Basically, like I said, it wasn't the I was going to say it wasn't the most boring. I've heard Rogan episodes that I could equate to that. It wasn't like the craziest thing I ever heard, but it was just like, it's amazing that Opie, after, at this time, 20 years in broadcasting, couldn't muster up anything to say to this man, really, you know?
Yeah. There's
Well,
one last clip.
There's one more clip, right?
Yep, something new.
And this is interesting. Like, keep in mind, this is 11 years ago.
Right.
That's why I found this so fascinating, is you hear Opie talk. And I will amend one thing. I've always said, since Opie and Anthony broke up, Opie has always said, like, we knew we were at the end of our run. And I've always said that was bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony wasn't thinking that.
Opie was.
Opie was, as you can hear.
guys ever
friendlier.
have you ever guys thought about moving somewhere else? Have you and Anthony ever thought about not living in New York and just fucking taking the show on the road somewhere?
Oh hell no.
No?
No. I don't even know how many more years we're gonna do it.
What are you gonna do if you don't do that?
Just chill out for a while.
Get the fuck out of here. What are you gonna die? Gonna get old
No,
and fall
man,
apart?
Fucking hang out.
Get right back in
I'm
the
gonna
hunt.
just chill out.
You know what you guys should do for real? You should do exactly.
We're trying to figure out what's next for
You
us.
should do
'Cause
exactly
we've
what
done
you're
it all.
doing, but do it on the internet. Because that's what's going to be in everyone's fucking stereo.
No,
Everyone's car stereo is going to be connected
Boy,
to the
was
internet.
Joe 100% right.
Yeah.
But you can make the leap,
2 years.
slowly. You could just do it under assumed names that everybody
Right.
knows. You could come up with your own name.
Right.
Fucky and douchey. Whatever. Call it. I think Dale Dudley, they call themselves Teabag and Taint. So I think he's got some sort of a contract issue thing like
They
that.
weren't all great ideas.
No. Teabag and taint, you don't like it?
And we're not perfect, but the idea of doing a podcast was a good idea.
Yeah. Nailed it.
Do it and just start it up.
I don't
What
know.
could they do?
I've done it for a long time.
I know,
I'm
but
looking
it's
for-
easy and it's fun.
I'm just looking for something new and different.
Oh yeah, like
Okay,
what?
hold on a second. This is January of 2013.
Mm-hmm.
They signed their most recent contract in October of 2012. They had been re-signed for 4 months, and Opie's like, "Ah, man, it's just time for a change." They re-signed 4 months ago to do the exact same show.
Yeah.
No, that's the problem.
Oh, that was the end of it.
Oh, but that was him saying, like, the part that got cut off is Joe's saying, like, what are you going to do? And he's like, I just don't know. That's the problem. Opie didn't know 11 years ago what he's going to do. And still to this day, he's sitting on the beach streaming on Instagram. It's kind of sad when you think about it.
With Doggy.
With Doggy, yes. Doggy, and for some reason, not Cardiff Electric, which that was the best version of his show.
No kidding.